Most people don't realize how early they start hiding parts of themselves. It doesn't happen all at once. It starts in small moments, moments you barely notice. You catch yourself holding back a reaction. You react not because you feel it, but because that's what's normal. You look away when someone's gaze stays on you for a second too long. You feel emotion rise, irritation, joy, sadness, and you shut it down before it ever shows. No one teaches you this, not directly. You just learn that being fully yourself makes people react, and reactions can feel risky. So you adjust. You read the room, you measure your words, and with every little correction, you trade honesty for safety. After a while, you stop noticing. You just feel tired, not from what you do, but from what you hold back. That's how most of us forget what it feels like to simply be, without control, without performing, without shrinking to fit. That hesitation, the one that stops you from saying what you really mean, it didn't appear out of nowhere. At some point, honesty started to cost you something. Maybe people laughed when you spoke too openly. Maybe they got quiet when you showed emotion. Maybe someone told you were too sensitive or made you feel like your thoughts were inconvenient. And sometimes it's not even fear. You just know your truth might sound too sharp, too direct, too much. You want to say it exactly as it is, but you also know it could hurt someone. So you choose silence, thinking it's kindness. And that's how it begins. You don't decide to hide, you just decide not to risk it again. Your mind learns fast. Silence feels safer than being misunderstood. Neutral feels better than rejection. So you start managing yourself, making sure nothing you say creates tension. Nothing you feel spills out too much. It's not fear of people, it's fear of what honesty can break. And the more you control, the more distant you start to feel from others and from yourself, because you can't selectively numb your truth. When you silence one part of you, everything else goes quiet with it. Over time, it doesn't even feel like pretending. It just becomes how you live. You agree with things you don't fully believe because explaining yourself takes too much energy. You keep conversations on the surface because not everyone is ready for depth. You say it's fine before you even check if it really is. And people like you for it. You're easy to be around. You don't start conflicts. You listen. You adapt. You keep the peace. But when it gets quiet, you start to notice the small moments. When you held back what you wanted to say, when you smiled instead of disagreeing, when you did what was expected instead of what felt right. And you start to wonder, how many times did you do something kind? Not because you wanted to, but because it felt expected. You tell yourself it's empathy, but sometimes it's fear of being misunderstood. That's the trap, when your calm becomes a mask and your empathy turns into self-erasure, because after a while, you're not protecting peace. You're just avoiding yourself. At first, you think it's just a phase, being tired, disconnected, unmotivated. You tell yourself you need rest, new goals, maybe a break. But rest doesn't help because you're not exhausted from doing too much. You're exhausted from holding too much back. You spent years keeping everything under control, your tone, your emotions, your truth. And the more control you have, the less alive you feel. You start noticing it in small ways. You don't laugh as hard. You don't cry as deeply. You stop feeling the urge to speak when something truly matters. That's when it hits you. This calm you've built isn't peace. It's silence. You've confused emotional safety with emotional absence. And somewhere along the way, you stopped asking what you feel and started asking what's appropriate. That's how people slowly disappear, not by leaving, but by staying quiet for too long. You realize you've been chasing peace by avoiding life, avoiding conflict, avoiding disappointment, avoiding being misunderstood until you started avoiding yourself. It's strange how easy it is to fake calm. You smile, you listen, you stay reasonable, and people call it maturity. But it's not maturity if it costs you your honesty. You start seeing it clearly now, how much energy it takes to hold back what's real, how being strong often just means being quiet, how kindness sometimes means pretending you're not hurt. And maybe that's where it begins, not in fixing yourself, but in letting yourself be seen, in saying what you actually think, even if your voice shakes, in admitting that you care, even if it feels uncomfortable. Because the moment you allow yourself to be real, something inside you starts breathing again. Being yourself doesn't mean saying everything you think. It means not lying to yourself while you stay quiet. It means noticing what you feel, even when you don't show it. It means setting boundaries without turning cold. It means learning that peace isn't the absence of emotion. It's the space where emotions can exist safely. You start realizing that honesty and kindness can live together, that love isn't lost when you stop pretending, that being understood isn't about saying it perfectly. It's about being real enough to be seen. You won't become louder, just clearer. You won't stop feeling fear. You'll just stop letting it edit you. And one day, you'll say something that used to feel risky. And instead of shame, you'll feel relief, because that's what truth feels like. Not heavy, just honest. Maybe that's what it means to grow, not to become stronger, but to stop apologizing for being human. You'll still have days when you hide what you feel, when you play it safe, when you say, "I'm fine," out of habit. But you'll notice it now. And noticing changes everything. Because awareness is quiet, but it's powerful. It's the start of honesty. You won't fix yourself overnight. You'll just start listening again to the small signals, the quiet discomforts, the places inside that ask to be seen. And maybe that's all it takes to begin, to finally stop performing life and start living it. There's no finish line in self-understanding, only moments of truth that feel like coming home. Thank you for walking a little of that road with me today.